what? The title, Die, Christian, Die? I didn't say it. Jesus said it. John 12. He said, unless a grain of wheat falls to the ground and dies, it remains a single seed. But if it dies, it produces many seeds. The movie is as good as it gets. I've referenced it before, and I'll reference it again. It's got 100 illustrations for those that would take the time to look. But Jack Nicholson, you'll remember in Helen Hunt, they're in a restaurant. Jack Nicholson has compulsive behavioral disorder, says what he means what he says, insults anyone within a 200-mile radius. Well, Carol, the waitress, Helen Hunt, she's had enough. She finally snaps and says, pay me a compliment, Melvin. Pay me a compliment or I'm out of here. Melvin thinks for a minute and then he says, as only Jack Nicholson could say, you make me want to be a better man. You make me want to be a better man. God bless all the Carols of this world. Those people who by the things that they do, the things that they say, the lives that they live, the people that they are, encourage us to be better men and women. Those whom God enables to cheer us along our way. When I think about Jesus, long enough to stop thinking about myself, this much is true. He makes me want to be a better man. And yet, it's so much more than that. What is it that leads men into battle? What is it that would lead a man to sacrifice himself to the highest order? What encourages men to think not of themselves, which is a major achievement in and of itself, but to think not of themselves, but to think of their country, of their people, of their neighborhoods, of their families? What is it that would arouse a man to look death in the face and choose it, gladly choose it, willingly choose it? More often than not, at least down through history, it's been the leaders, those who the men follow. Alexander the Great, I'm told, was engaged in conversation with a king who made it quite clear he wasn't about to surrender. As the story goes, Alex lined up a portion of his men and ordered them to march right off the edge of a cliff, and they did it. The king, what do you think he did? He surrendered. Wouldn't you? What was so great about Alex? What was so great about the man we surnamed the Great? What was so great about Mr. Great? He made men want to die. Or what about William Wallace, arguably Scotland's greatest leader, whose troops bled the ground red at Stirling Bridge at Falkirk, and ultimately without him in 1314 at the Battle of Bannockburn, where Scotland finally won their freedom from the English? What was so great about Wallace? He made men want to die. Or more recently, Sir Winston Churchill, who led our side against the Nazis and into what he called, and what was undoubtedly our finest hour. What was so great about Churchill? He made men want to die. Men in their hundreds of thousands, year after year, boys, some of them lying about their age, to sign up for what looked like certain death. Why? Because their leader had convinced them that we would fight them in the streets, we would fight them on the beaches, we would fight them in the highways and in the byways. And as long as a single one of us remained, we would never surrender. What was great about Churchill? He made men want to die. Good leaders make us want to be better men, better women. Great leaders make us want to die. So what about you? What about this leader you tell me about, this Jesus that you talk about all the time? If I asked you, is he everything that you proclaim him to be? Everything that you preach him to be? Everything that you pray him and sing him to be? You would say yes. I would say this is quite a guy. Is he a Lord? You would say the Lord of Lords. If I said, wow, is he a king? Is he some type of king? You would say the King of Kings. I would say, really? That good? You would say the best, the greatest ever. And then I would say, well, tell me, does he make you want to die? Or are we too busy with life, too busy with living to be serious about this business of dying? We like to live. That's the problem. We like to live to our work. We like to live to our families. We like to live to our recreation. We like to live to our churches even. The only problem with that is that the harvest is calling for death. Jesus said, unless a grain of wheat falls to the ground and dies, it remains a single seed, existing only of and for itself. Oh, but if it dies, it produces many seeds. And the evidence of this is, of course, Jesus himself, who, like the seeds he encourages us to be, fell to the ground and died, and in doing so produced many seeds, millions in every age for 2,000 years. But seeds are not meant to be stockpiled. They're not meant to be collected. There's no point in us becoming content sitting in a sack in a barn when we have been purposefully designed for the field. We are intended, like he was intended, to be planted in the field of humanity and die. Are we seriously trying to grow without being planted? Are we genuinely trying to produce without dying? It can't be done. Ask any farmer. Jesus said, unless the wheat falls to the ground and dies, it remains a single seed. But if it dies, well, how is this done? We might ask. Jesus, he's the answer to everything. What think ye of Christ is the test. You cannot be wrong with him and right with the rest. He's the example. We follow him. We follow that leader. We consider him to be the best. And the more we consider him, the more we'll be aroused to die. So let us consider Jesus with the children and learn to die to self-importance. Let us consider Jesus with the woman caught in the act of adultery and learn to die to popularity. Let us consider Jesus naming Judas the purse keeper and learn to die to materialism. Let us consider Jesus with the lepers and learn to die to separatism. Let us consider Jesus with the towel and learn to die to egotism. Let us consider Jesus in all things, who, like the seeds he encourages us to be, fell to the ground and died, and in doing so produced you. Die, Christian. Die.